We're in this barn again today. We've got some rain in here. Occasionally high wind, but I'm sure the high wind will get worse later. Let me talk here a little bit about some things I've seen on the metal detecting forums. And and I'm not picking on any certain person. I'm just going to show you what I have sort of discovered. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure how this translates into Deus 2, but we're going to get it out and we're going to run it over a couple of these targets here. So before we run that Deus 2, I'm probably going to bring that old Equinox out here too, okay? Because I've noticed this in the field, in the wild. Now, it's a number 7.5 shotgun shot there. You may not can see it in the camera, but it's sitting there solo, elevated above the ground. Now this is a low frequency call at 18 kilohertz, okay? And it will see that shotgun shot, but I want you to listen to it here now. Now, I don't have headphones. You can't hear this in the headphones. But that is actually considered a dirty signal, okay? That's not actually a clean hit. Okay? Now, here's a bigger non-ferrous round. That's the key here. Key in this video is round, okay? Not disc shape, but round. Okay, now listen to this. See, that's not a clean hit on that target, okay? That audio is dirty, okay? Now, you can't tell hardly listen to the external speaker. Okay, now I'm gonna turn this camera off just for a minute. Now, I took that same number 7.5 shot out of that shotgun shell, and what I've done is I've clamped her a little bit with a pair of vice grips, and you can see it right there, okay? Now, listen to this machine now. See, it's a cleaner hit. The edges of the signal, you don't have that. Now, this is in full tones. I'm showing this for a reason, okay? So that's more of a clean hit. Now, we're going to put this high frequency elliptical on this machine and look at these targets. Now, I've got this XP Deus 1 with a high frequency call at 31.3 kilohertz, okay? Now, this is the shotgun shot here that's round, has not been altered, okay? Now, listen to this. Full tones. You hear how it sounds? You notice it's not a blip tone. Okay? Now, hope I don't lose that thing. Okay? Now, this is the one I altered, touching it with a vice grip. Hear that? Listen. You notice you don't get that mess off on the sides. It's more of a beep. Okay? Now here's this musket ball. I think that's what this thing is. Now that's not actually, believe it or not, that's not considered ultra clean tone on that right there, okay? It's dirty. Hear how long it is? Now this is in full tones. And I found this in the field in this old site looking for musket balls, using low frequency and high frequency calls on a Deus 1. And when they were in the ground, now dirt will aggravate this with this machine right here, okay? And it don't have to be very deep. But what it'll do is it doesn't sound very loud. And it sounds like a dirty signal. It almost sounds like iron, okay? Hear that? Listen. Okay? And when I took the Equinox into this same site, I was digging these things. Because they give more robust, it gave like the same signal. It wasn't like this machine. Okay, now the only reason I'm bringing this up, you know, I seen a gentleman, you know, out hunting in the desert, I guess, hunting for gold. And he was finding birdshot with I guess with both a XP Deus 2 and a Equinox. And he's got a 11-inch coil on the Deus 2, and he's got a 6-inch coil on the Equinox. And he gives a summation at the end, you know, and makes a comment about the Equinox is more sensitive to gold, but I don't know if he's basing that on, you know, he's using the 6-inch coil in the video. Well, the 6-inch coil on the Equinox is more sensitive to gold than the 11-inch coil is on the Equinox. You should never probably compare a 6-inch coil on any detector against another detector with an 11-inch coil. I mean, you're not really, what are you trying to say? But anyway, he was looking at those birdshot, digging. He dug a lot of birdshot, or smaller lead, and it looked like come out of a birdshot shotgun shell. And my contention is, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the engineering that XP has done on their equipment, but spherical objects, they sort of fool these machines. They're not as sensitive to them. So I could make a case you would dig more birdshot with an Equinox based on what I've seen in the live field digging with musket balls smaller. You would dig more birdshot with one of those machines than you would a Deus 2. But we're going to get the Deus 2 out. We're going to look at these targets here, okay? So again, I'm going to, before I turn this camera off, let's look at this one more time so you can hear this. Now that's the same shot that I squeezed a little bit with the vice grips. Listen. More of a solo single tone, pretty clean on the edges, okay? Now there's that little shot there that's round. Listen to that. Hear that? So you get a scratchy signal. It's not near as strong a report. Now I'm not even, you know, this thing will go to 74 kilohertz this call, but I don't use that hunting around here. But I noticed this with this Deus equipment, okay? Listen to that. It's more splotchy sounding. It's the same, you know, the target. The only thing that's been altered is the shape, okay? So I'm going to go get the Equinox and the Deus 2, and we're going to play with these right here. Okay, now here's the big round non-ferrous, the bigger of the ones here, okay? I mean, sensitive program on this Deus 2. It's full tones, reactivity 2.5. I'll let you listen to this. See, that audio's dirty on that target right there, too, okay? See how it's reporting that? Now, I'm about 4 inches above that. Listen to it. All right. Now, this is the lead that I squeezed with the vice grips a little, okay? Hear how it's very blurty, meaning it's coming in and going out quick. Now, part of that's due to the size of this target, but I think part of it is actually the shape of this target, okay? That's a little over maybe 1 inch of call height. That's a small target, okay? Now, here is the unaltered birdshot. Look at that. Hear that? Very low reporting. And if I get down close to it, listen, you'll hear it splatter the target where it's like it's hitting it, and it's hitting it on maybe the sides. Listen. Okay? And I don't know if, you know, the way these XP has set up their detector, is this part of the reason why these things do so well in the iron? I couldn't tell you. I just know it's a difference. I see the difference, okay? And the full tones audio exposes this. A round target, when you listen to one of these machines, a spherical target, not a disc-shaped round like a coin. It's like there's an iron component in the signal audio, okay? And I guess that's intentional the way they've engineered it. Maybe it, you know, it helps with something else the machine does in the field, okay? Went back and reshot one part of this video you're fixing to watch. I full reset this Equinox 800. I've got this 11-inch coil on it. This is the field too, okay? I redid it, so if you see a different board, okay, in this testing, that's why, okay? This is the unaltered shot, 24 sensitivity, and I've got the disc all the way down on 0, okay? You see that meter reading a 1. Okay? So it does detect the unaltered shot. Now this is the altered shot. Okay? Detects it better. 1 in the meter, okay? And this is the big item, spherical shape. Okay? So in factory defaults setting, you're not going to probably dig any of those bird shot right there in the field with this detector, in my opinion, okay? Okay. Now, just to be fair, I'm not sure. I didn't even look at the gold field on the Deus one, but we're going to go to prospecting one on this machine. Now, this is the bird shot that's undisturbed. You get a 1 in the meter. Make sure I don't lose that thing right there. Here's the altered bird shot. Prospecting one. Good signal. 1 in the meter. And here's the big one. Get down real close, of course, you know, the call is so close to it, you'll get that. Some people might think that's an iron signal in the wild, but that ain't. That's a non-ferrous target, but when you get down close, okay? You interested in seeing this? So I brought the Deus 2 back out, and we've got it in gold field mode, reactivity 2, okay? Actually, it's just basically the way I turned the machine on, default settings. Now, this is the altered bird shot. .32 in the meter for ID. It does detect it. It is call height limited. That's a small target. Okay, now here's the unaltered bird shot. Look at there. Big difference, ain't it? See that? Now, I was getting that other one right there real good. Just a whisper. Okay. And then here's the big one. Okay. So you can even see in this test right here that the Equinox in Goldfield versus this machine, or Equinox in Prospecting 1, I didn't even check Prospecting 2. And Goldfield on this one right here, even with a smaller call, that on that round shot right there, the spherical target, it underperforms. Okay? Now here's the question, and I'm not a gold nugget hunter, okay? I don't claim to be one. I know very little about it, but how much gold in the field, Doug, is round, perfectly round? Maybe there's some out there. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Okay? But this sort of exposes what I suspected when I used the Deus 1 for several years. I used high frequency calls, and then I got the Equinox, and that's one of the first things I noticed. I'm like, boy, I'm sure digging a lot of musket balls out of this old site. And I commented about this over on Dankowski's site. Okay? So I'm just, you know, people may find this beneficial, but in my, you know, if there is round gold out there, then I guess we back can say on round gold, the Equinox is a clear, outright better performer.